Weekly update for Friday, July 1st. And a letter from Jason Trimmer from the Ye Books of Cerebus exhibition way back when, and 2005, 2006, around there. Note, I've been working on this letter to you since fall 2016. And the saved draft I have updated was from April 2020. So apologies in advance for its length and any inconsistencies in tense. No problem. I felt bad because it's from March 17th, but I'm doing pretty good. Dear Dave, to start off, I owe you an apology. You see, when news first broke a couple of years back that you were suspending your work on the strange death of Alex Raymond, in the comments section of A Moment of Cerebus, Carson mentioned that he hadn't, at that point, been paid for the work he had done on the project. Alas, caught up in, yes, the disappointed and frustrated emotions of the moment, I know, I opined that this was unethical and was indignant on his behalf. Of course, I had and have no idea what the terms of your agreement with Carson were in those early stages of collaboration. I don't know how my comments, quote, read, unquote, now, but in retrospect, I was far too harsh towards you, and for that I apologize. I'm sorry, Dave. You have enough people henpecking at you online, and I wish I wouldn't have added to that. No problem. I'm not online, so I'm probably the best object, best victim you could possibly pick, because first of all, I won't know that you said something like that, and second of all, not knowing, I won't henpeck you back. Thanks for answering my question for the March 2022 quote, please hold for Dave Sim, unquote segment. As always, I find both the inner workings of publishing and direct market quite interesting, and certainly much less glamorous than I am sometimes even still inclined to think. Thanks as well for your hopes that I am still married. I am, quite happily. I may have mentioned in a previous letter to you that I began a weekly Bible study with a good friend of mine who is one of the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was within a few weeks after that study began, if that, when I met my now wife, Paulina. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Paulina. As my study progressed and my relationship with Paulina, I was mindful of Paul's advice in 1 Corinthians 7:8-9. Quote, now I say to those who are unmarried and to the widows that it is better for them if they remain as I am. But if they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to be inflamed with passion, unquote. If there was anything I knew from being single for years and years, it was that I did not have self-control. More on that below. And we're going to cut off Jason's letter at that point for this week. I'm going to run and get my Kingdom Interlinear, and we're going to have a quick look at 1 Corinthians to see what the word-for-word translation is. Back in just a moment. I am saying, however, to the unmarried and to the widows, fine to them, if ever they should remain, as also I. If, however, not, they are having might within, let them marry. Better for it is to be marrying than to be being set on fire. See, the issue that I have with the translations is if you don't translate it word for word like that, then you don't know what's actually being said. I mean, there's any number of ways to say in Greek inflamed or inflamed with passion, but I don't think to be being set on fire would even be in the top 10. aside from that, if it says to be being set on fire, then at the very least I think you need a translation that not only accommodates what you've decided you want it to say, which is inflamed with passion, but to also accommodate another interpretation that it's better than to burn in hellfire, to be set on fire. I think there's, that's a much closer inference to be taking from the single term, the single Greek term that means to be being set on fire, than to say, well, what they're saying is inflamed with passion. No, I don't think it's saying that. And that's why I tend to stick with the Kingdom interlinear. I'm always happy to talk to anybody about the Synoptic Gospels or Paul's commentaries, but I want to read what it actually says and then tell you, okay, here's what I think that it says, rather than saying, here's my favorite translation that translates it this way. I don't think that's unreasonable, but I do understand that virtually all Christians think that that's unreasonable, that it's more important for, we're guessing at percentages, whatever percentage of Christians, 95%, 98% would say, no, it's what the church fathers have handed down to us, and what they've handed down to us is that means to be inflamed with passion, end of discussion, no more opinions allowed. And it's like, well, okay, but you're still ignoring what the words are actually saying and, sticking your own interpretation on top of it. Okay, we will leave that aside, and I hope we'll see a bunch of you next week for the next part of Jason's letter.